We are on a journey in our marketplace. We are talking about financial well-being. Marketplace is a segment within the church where we give good advice about pertinent issues that you deal with as a marketplace individual. And one of this quarter, what we've been doing is we've been doing financial well-being sessions. These are also available on our social media, on YouTube. You can just you can just type Shapers Church, and you will see the teachings that we've been teaching since we've begun this year. Amen? Amen. Just a reminder, financial well-being is how much money provides you with security and freedom of choice to meet your current and future obligations. We've committed this year that we want to live within our means. Amen? Amen, amen. We can move to the next slides. Amen. Last week, as a recap, we talked about the popular budget plan. This is what most financial planners recommend as your budget plan. It recommends that 50% should be in your needs and your necessities. We've spoken a lot about that. You can just go and recap on your YouTube. 30% should be into your wants, and 20% should be into saving or accelerated debt payment. This is 20% of your income. So if you're earning 100 Rand, 20 Rand must go into savings or accelerated debt prepayment. 30 Rand must be into your wants, and 50 Rand must be into your necessity. That is what the financial planners suggest. Next one, you can move to the next slide. My principles of well-being. I thought maybe to segue and bring it back. There are 3 principles that if we can adopt as a church will be a long way, amen, in our personal walk. The first is transparency. Being transparent about your finances. There's a colleague of mine who actually once told me that her parents would sit with her every month and talk about their budget and say, this is our budget, this is where it's going. And through that, she learned from her perspective about budgeting, and she grew financially. So transparency is your ability to talk to each other. If you're at home, to talk to your husband or your wife around your finances and say, this is the goal we want to achieve together. Have a goal that you talk about together. Amen? Amen. The second part is automation. What does automation mean? It means make your finances automatic in terms of what you need to spend on. So what I do is that I know that my salary comes on the 20th, and from the 20th perspective, all the needs and the expenses that I need to pay are paid, and it's automated. So I make it either a debit order or I set it manually myself where I automate it and I say, these are the key expenses that if I do not pay for these, I will be in trouble. Amen. That includes my saving. So when our kids were born, we decided we want to save right from the beginning for the first month. And since then, we've automated our savings for our kids every single month. Amen. And we'll talk about compounding right now. What does compounding mean? So I want to encourage you, let me not leave that point hanging. Automate what is important from your expenses perspective so that you do not keep forgetting. Sometimes you forget. Oh, I forgot about that. Automate it and let it be. So that after the 22nd, you know what's remaining in your account. If you're like me on the 20th, you know the 22nd, the money that's remaining is the money I intend to spend on wants that I can spend on. Amen? Amen, amen. The third one that I live by, well, this is the financial principle. It's called compounding. It is one of your best investment tools. What does compounding mean? It means whatever you've invested, when it earns interest or earns dividends, those interests and dividends, you can save them again, and those themselves keep compounding and earning interest. So your income grows at an exponential rate versus what you've had before. Is that easier to get? Some people are like, yo, Mama Rudu, you just confused us. It is when your interest or your dividend that you have saved earns you more interest. It's called compounding. So what you've invested keeps compounding. It increases at a non-linear rate than what you've invested before. This is quite a powerful tool in financial well-being because it can work for you and it can also work against you. What does against you mean? It means you can also have obligations that work against you. So meaning when you have interest from whatever debt that you have, that also accumulates. The interest that you earn on the debt also accumulates interest and compounds, and then you look later, over the years and you're like, jeez, what has happened to my finance? Because you've been stuck in the compounding of interest. So we need to make sure that we have good habits that utilizes the compounding effect. Amen? 3 key principles for financial well-being. Next slide. Last week I said we're going to talk about debt. Bad debt and good debt. What do I consider as good debt? Good debt is something that you pay for that will yield fruits. That will yield fruits. Bad debt is something that you pay for consumption. I just classify it very simply. Consumption. If you want to buy a waffle and you take it from your credit card to buy a waffle, that's a bad debt. But if you want to buy a vehicle because you need it to move you from point A to point B, that is a good debt. We spoke about differentiation between what type of vehicle that you want to buy. But I just want to simplify that. Good debt versus bad debts. Bad debts are those that you use for consumption. It is advised that you should not spend on bad debts, but you should rather save for the things that you want. If you want to go for holiday, do not use the credit card. Save for the holiday and then go for holiday on those. Order your debts. We've spoken about your budget. You've done your budget by now already, and you've analyzed your debts. But I would like you to do another step. Order your debts by your highest interest rate. So I've used good examples there in terms of what an average South African has. Credit card, retail store, vehicle financing, and a home loan. You order them, and then you say, you tackle the first one first. So the highest one is the one you need to tackle first, and then once you're done with that one, you go with the next. Once you're done with that one, you go with the next. Amen? Because this year we've committed that we're going to be people who reduce debt, especially bad debt. Amen? Amen, amen. I will leave it there, amen. And I would like to call on Pastor Don to come and take the tithe and offering.